Alexi Kakis Vitality presents The Life Science Health System by T.C. Fry. Read by Alexi Kakis in a series of videos where all the book will be compilated. This book compiles the philosophy, principles, and practices of natural hygiene. It was originally published as a course, which consisted of 106 lessons called The Life Science Health System by T.C. Fry. The Life Science Health System is an immense compilation of knowledge by various authors, and was intended to prepare a person to apply the principles of the life science system to acquire pristine health and vitality, naturally reverse aging, self-healing, and longevity. Before starting this video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, share, and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any and be the first one to watch the new videos. This will help us to continue creating more content like this, and is completely free. Thank you very much.
Lesson 5, Introduction to Nutritional Science. The following topics will be covered in this lesson.
1. What constitutes nutrition? Definitions and concepts. Conventional attitudes regard nutrition as being almost exclusively involved with foods and feeding, but this is only one facet of the nutritional scene, albeit an important one. At the outset, it is prudent to define what nutrition is and, in view of the many misconceptions, what nutrition is not. 1.1. Nutrition is the sum of all processes that promote growth and function. Nutrition does not mean food only. Nutrition is the sum of all the processes that supply, develop and sustain an organism's faculties and functions at the optimal level of existence. In short, nutrition is the total of all that supplies life's needs. It embraces all requirements for perfect health, and supplying these requirements constitutes nutrition. 1.2. Nutrition is modified by the entire spectrum of life conditions and activities. The sum of nutritional processes adds up to our health quotient, that is, our state of health equals the total of the nutritional processes that created it. Anything that modifies nutrition or the processes of supply and usage also modifies health. Everything we get involved in or do in all spheres of life affects in some way our nutritive disposition, either for the better, for the worse, or equivalently. With respect to foods and feeding, we have specific adaptations for acquiring and processing particular foods to meet our nutritive needs. Anything that changes in the whole process affects our nutrition and, consequently, our health. Because of its importance, we re-emphasize, nutrition is largely dependent upon our health and, likewise, our health is dependent on nutrition.
1.3. Nutrition involves the processes of growth, development, supply, and invigoration. Dr. Herbert M. Shelton has defined nutrition as follows. Perfect nutrition is dependent on perfect organs, perfect functions, and normal health. Each is dependent upon, and grows out of the other. All processes and functions are interdependent and interact harmoniously for mutual well-being. They cannot be taken apart and categorized. Every aspect of life is but a part of a unified whole. This idea of interdependence and interaction leads to the principle that the appropriate way to recover and develop strength and vigor is through the activities and processes that give rise to growth. We recover or develop strength and vigor in the same way that we keep well, in the same way that a babe grows into vigor and adulthood. The powers and forces that brought us into being, that sustain us in existence, that cause us to grow through all the phases of life to manhood and womanhood, are sufficient to restore us if health becomes impaired. 2. Food is an element of nutrition. As stated earlier, food constitutes only a part of the needs of life. It constitutes some of the raw materials which become part of the overall nutritive processes. When the body receives food, it breaks it down mechanically and chemically into components, which can be absorbed and synthesized by the organism, into special substances to meet the special needs of the organism. 2.1. Food is an inert substance, merely raw materials. Many people believe that foods have different actions in the body. However, this is erroneous. Foods do not act in the body but are, instead, acted upon by the body. To be appropriated, the food must lose all its character. It is mechanically crushed, comminuted, and mixed with digestive fluids, then chemically reduced to basic components for absorption, synthesis, and use. Let us again review nutrition as Dr. Shelton has expressed it in yet another definition. Nutrition is a vital process carried on only by a living organism. It is a process of growth, development, and invigoration. To eat good food and enough of it, to drink pure water and breathe pure air, in and of themselves, are very desirable, but something more is needed in order to acquire health, strength, and vigor. Nutrition is dependent on function. We can have better nutritive function only when we have a capacity for better nutrition. Food is of value only in its physiological connections with air, water, sunshine, rest, and sleep, exercise or activity, cleanliness, and wholesome mental and moral influences, in short, all the natural or normal circumstances which we know to be necessary for the preservation of health. What Dr. Shelton is saying is but a reiteration of what has been emphasized here, that the better your health, the better will be your nutrition, and the better your nutrition, the better will be your health. Every factor and condition of life must be supplied optimally to assure best health. Again, to highlight its importance, we repeat that food does not use the body or do anything to the body. The body does unto the food and uses it. In creating foods, plant life designed them to be utilized by animals in exchange for a service to the plant. This is symbiosis. Human service to plants is the incidental broadcast of their seeds. Was ever a reward so great for such a small service? As a nutritionist, you must ever keep this in mind. Foods do nothing in the body. They have no powers of cleansing, healing, or anything else. Foods have no will or purposes of their own. To be consumed and used is their inherent design.
2.2 Food use is subject to the body's ability to process, appropriate, assimilate, metabolize and eliminate. A body that is impaired is unable to properly process and use food. To the extent that the impairment causes withdrawal of functional energies from digestive processes, the body is unable to be fed. When the body's nutritive functions are in any way impaired, and this will usually be evidenced by depressed or lost appetite, make this a standing rule: do not partake of food. Guide clients away from food. Missing a meal or a few meals is most constructive. If the body is in any abnormal condition, food should not be taken or given. In fever, pain, emotional upset, fatigue, worry, sleeplessness and many other conditions, the body is unable to muster the needed energies for the processes of digestion, appropriation, and assimilation. In such conditions, the body does not create the condition of hunger or give rise to aptency.
2.3 Food is but one of many needs in nutrition. Our capacity to receive, process and assimilate food is necessary to the nutritive process. In the absence of functional energies in these areas, feeding results in lowered body energies and the waste of foodstuffs. It is passed on to the bowels and the body is worse off for it. To appropriately receive, digest and assimilate foods, other physiological needs must also be present. Oxygen, water, digestive fluids, nerve energy, and a multitude of other factors and influences must favorably coalesce to affect these processes. Should any impairment in the nutritive faculties exist, the interference may prove insurmountable and result in indigestion. This leads to this inescapable conclusion which you must ever bear in mind: proper nutrition is dependent upon and is affected by the entire spectrum of the organism's activities and conditions.
If you want to learn more about nutritional science, continue to the next video, where we will go deeper into this topic, and where we will cover the following. 3. Physiological criteria foods must meet. 3.1 Food adaptations of various species. 3.2 Range of food processing capabilities. 3.3 Food adaptations of humans. 3.4 The dietary requirements that determine our ideal foods. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week.